Okay. All right. So, hello, everybody. It's Tuesday. It's Brian, Breaking Down Security. Hope you've had a chance to settle into your week. Getting down to the holiday where I would say not a lot's going to be happening next week. Or no, not next week. What is it? The week of the 18th. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I won't even be in the state of California during the 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st. We're going to be taking a Mexican cruise starting on the 16th, so it'll be awesome. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to having that time off. As we talked about on Sunday during the show, the places tend to shut down, so I like to take vacation before it actually gets to the point where everyone else is taking vacation. So I tend to take, the week before Christmas off. So yeah, it's good times. I'm glad we're able to. I hope that you're able to do so at your own workplace and not having to deal with any vulnerabilities that come up in the near future. So yeah, let's see what we have. So I have news. I have some discussions. I apologize for the ads. I have found out that if you are lurking or are not ad-free, it feels like you're going to get ads, even though I have shut off all the ads on our stream. I don't have any answer to this. My thought was to potentially leave Twitch and go over to YouTube, but I have a feeling they have the same amount of ads depending on what you're doing. So I have a question to the assemblage, to people who are watching this on VOD. I guess the question I'm asking is, what is keeping you from subscribing to the stream? Or if maybe you don't like Twitch, you just like watching the VODs on like YouTube, what way would you like to view these? Because I'm more than willing to just drop Twitch and go over to YouTube. I think it's a bit more ubiquitous. As we've heard from a lot of curmudgeonly types in the infosec community, they don't go on Twitch because that's for gamers. And it's just, for some, it's just slightly higher than OnlyFans or what have you in terms of streaming. YouTube is, the standard, right? To a lesser extent, Vimeo and those. And so I'm just interested in your feedback. I'm always trying to improve the show, the stream. I've taken great pains to test my audio this week. And Beta Wolf, who will or will not be on at some point in the future, I sent him some video of me talking, and I had my guns exposed, my pythons. I told him I'd send him some thirsty videos. But yeah, I'd been testing out. So apparently the equalizer that I was using was causing potentially the popping sound that you were hearing, like the background popping and crackling sound, which caused me a lot of problems. And I found I changed out some of the audio, but I also had a copy, or not a copy. I also had a $30 cheapo lapel mic that I was using as well. And for whatever reason, the audio sounded much better coming from the lapel mic. So I was like, well, maybe I should use this. And then I realized that maybe some of the fixes that I was putting into place would also work on my shotgun mic here, which I've got my shotgun mic. And so I made those changes, and everything seems to sound a little better. I hope that you're getting that, because for somebody who's had an audio podcast for 10 years, that we've been doing audio for 8, and now we're doing a combination of video and audio. I always was of the opinion that your product is audio, and if your audio sounds like shit, you're shit, right? And that was one of the things. So moving to Twitch, obviously things like video has become a huge deal. Being pretty on video, being pretty on audio, it's all got to kind of mesh, right? So I've been working on that. I think it sounds better. I've done a lot of recordings today, just short little recordings, like turning on and off audio filters and testing different equalizers. And I think we've hit upon a good mix here, and I'm not going to futz around with it too much. So yeah, there are a number of news stories out. Actually, one isn't even related to security. The other thing I need to learn how to start doing is this. So, take it what it is. It's a website that talks about science stuff. So, it it's not a it's not a Discovery or Scientific American or what have you, but this person has mentioned that there are 2 simultaneous papers being published at the University of College in London saying that they've reconciled gravity and space-time and quantum mechanics, that they have happened upon the grand unification theory that has eluded us for 60, 70 years. 2 different papers, apparently 2 different teams, and I know it's not security related and it's very heavy science for all intents and purposes. So there was one here by Professor Jonathan Oppenheim, weird, Oppenheimer, and then the second paper published in Nature Communications by former PhD students of Dr. Oppenheim or Professor Oppenheim. They wrote the white paper up. That's not necessarily they've reconciled it with the math, and now the whole idea is they're trying to propose an experiment to test it. Right? They say here, to measure a mass very precisely to see if its weight appears to fluctuate over time. So they need to find something that's really large, that has a huge mass that they can measure, and then find out if it actually gains or loses weight over time. So that it was kind of an interesting discussion here. So it says, I geek out over these kinds of things because the unification theory that has eluded like folks like Einstein and them. The discussion is, well, do we quantify gravity and change the way that we perceive gravity in math and however we do that, or is the quantum realm needing to follow the classic model? And what they're saying is you don't have to do either, right? They say that it challenges the consensus and takes an alternative approach, suggesting that space-time may be classical, which is in the classical sense, not governed by quantum theory at all. So it's interesting. I don't know if they have the white paper here, but it might be some different reading for you. Here we go. Here's the 2 papers down at the bottom if you wanted to look those up. I don't know if you have access to them, but any kind of free websites or access to those might have those available to people. Let me see, archive. You may have to pay for this one. Let me see, download the PDF. No, okay, cool. All right, archive.org appears to have the document. Yes, okay, very cool. Well, go get your daily dose of science. I know that's not something that everybody came to read about on a infosec or cybersecurity thing, but it's just something I've been very interested in, and I tend to read those things, and I post them up on our science channel, which is in our Discord. So I've added those. The other one I was reading about, and again, I don't know the veracity of Freethink or the charming science channels or websites. They tend to have a lot of good articles about things like the 5th force of nature and those things. So I like reading them. I don't think it's all garbage. They do mention white papers and research papers that are covered in like archive and those folks. So this one is they're saying that the brain works on a quantum level. So there's some bit of quantum entanglement there. If you're they're trying to understand consciousness, so they're trying to figure out how quantum entanglement and consciousness work together. I didn't pick those because quantum is in the name. So I just like following sciencey stuff. So anybody have any interesting stories they want to talk about or news or anything like that? I'm going to go read up on these later. So I'm not gonna click on that one. Scientists catching sperm defying one of the major laws of physics. I think that has to do with the equal and opposite reaction thing. But they have a couple of decent things. They do have white papers that they cite, so it's not like somebody's just throwing up, hey, up is down, left is right, cats and dogs can live together in harmony, that kind of stuff. So they do report on white papers. It's usually all of these are usually backed up by white papers of some kind. So let me see. Nature communications. Okay, yes, accept all cookies. The PDF. Okay, so the PDF is available for the second paper as well. You'll have to download that yourself from the nature.com website. I have the PDF here, but obviously I can't upload that directly to the stream. So, All right. So, anybody have any? Did anybody watch Sunday night stream? I thought it went really well. There was some discussion on various things that came up. We talked about the Bluetooth, the bluff stuff. Really interesting. One of those protocol issues that came up that is cagey, is problematic for, depending on where you are in the relationship. If you're a company that works with chipset manufacturers, if you're a customer of those things, I've got a ton of, my earbuds right now are Bluetooth earbuds and headsets that connect. And the problem with it is the ability of an attacker to change various variables, to change the variables that make up a session key or what have you. They can zero those out and make them easily deterministic, and by doing so makes it easy to decrypt past and future messages. Now, for a good majority of things like $20 set of earbuds, it's not going to make a huge deal. Some of them ask for permissions like being able to share your contacts or to be able to send information over, but there are some uses of Bluetooth that could be problematic. How many of you connect your phones to your car? A lot of times messages and data and contacts and pictures and multimedia and everything gets pushed through those Bluetooth connections to your car and back and forth. And so depending on what you're sharing, between points A and B, it could very possibly be a security issue, a privacy issue. Anything you're sharing now that you think is secure could be broken in the future. So if somebody's passively sniffing your Wi-Fi, or not your Wi-Fi, but your Bluetooth in the area, that is something of a concern. It only affects, I believe, legacy security connections, not like the Bluetooth low energy stuff. So again, your $20 earbuds that maybe use Bluetooth low energy versus the original may not be a huge issue. But we're going to continue to see these kinds of protocol attacks. The Bluetooth SIG folks have already said, hey, increase the length of the key that is used to be derived, so it makes it harder to intercept and sniff. You're basically making the keys longer instead of like a Wi-Fi, like WEP used to have 40-bit, 64-bit, something like that. WEP keys. Let me see, WEP. Yeah, so back in the day when we used WEP was good enough. You used a 10-digit key. The later versions of WEP had a 26-digit key, and then you had up to a 56 or a 58-digit key. Now, obviously, you don't want to use WEP; it's horribly broken. Same thing with WPA. WPA2 is still okay as long as you're using the AES or the CCMP functions. Now everybody wants you to get on WPA3 because it allows for protections against things like DAuth and those. But this is what we're going to see. Things like Bluetooth are going to have to evolve. The backwards compatibility, I think, is still there for older devices. So if you're using a shorter key length, you can change it and make it longer. I think there's still the availability for that for some of the devices. But you're going to see that as we go. I mean, it's just technology, right? It's just changing, and people create these attacks. And these aren't even novel attacks. I believe what was it? Blurtooth? What was it? Yeah, Blurtooth, yeah. So Blurtooth is part of this that came out in 2020. So this was one of those that came out that was in 2020 that was found, and Carnegie Mellon. It's a sweet Flipper Zero payload for sending that advert package to iPhones and iPads. Yeah, infosec. The researcher did reach out. The researcher who did the research on this, and I think was involved with some of the Blurtooth stuff, did reach out to Apple and Google and Microsoft, because your laptop, I mean, these are connected to my computer. I have Bluetooth earbuds that are connected to my computer, connected to my phone, elsewhere. So these host in the middle attacks. I don't use man in the middle because it's more than just an actor. But there's a number of different things. So they mention unauthenticated keys or reduced length keys are not permitted in devices supporting Bluetooth core specifications. So they've already started increasing the length of keys. And Flipper Zero or Ubertooth, I think, is another one. Somebody had mentioned that at my workplace, because we talk about security vulnerabilities to stay abreast of what's going on in the industry. But somebody had mentioned Ubertooth 1, I think, is what it's called. It's all about passively sniffing those things, but you have to be in range. So technically, if I was an asshole and I had one of those, and my neighbor was pairing stuff up, and I wanted to be an asshole, curious as it were, I could sniff the Bluetooth going across the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum, and catch pairings that are occurring. Depending on the time frame and the window, I would have to derive that key fairly quickly. But once I've created that trust relationship between device A and device B, and I've made it so that I can set the keys on both sides, then I control the narrative, right? So there was another one, I think. I'm going to do a dirty here and go look at. Sorry, I'm at work now. Forgive me. Let me see. Where is it? Yeah. Somebody else had mentioned knob. Knob was the other thing that came up. Knob, Bluetooth. Yeah, knob attack. A knob attack was another one of the Bluetooth attacking the stacks here. So what this researcher has done essentially is taken two different Bluetooth attacks and shown how these can be put together in a chain to create the latest Bluetooth. So the only other thing I think we can do now is we have to make it faster. So the researcher's probably doing due diligence to figure out how to increase the speed to make it so that it can be done more quickly, and show that. So there's a lot of smarter people at work that are way smarter than me that wrote up very good write-ups that unfortunately can't share with the public about this. But yeah, I fully expect papers at B-sides, and you're going to have people, hey, I've got a Flipper Zero, I'm going to test this out. Again, as we've seen before, people are exceeding scope. Exceed scope with your own devices. Don't exceed scope with your neighbor's devices, or don't be an asshole, right? So it's just important to keep that in mind when you're being curious. There's a difference between being curious and being an asshole. So, and it's a very fine and fuzzy line with some people. So key negotiation of Bluetooth, knob attack, and there's a Usenix 19 conference there. I don't know who is the speaker, but it is 2019 9506. Man, I gotta tell you, Carnegie Mellon's on it this week. I've been using their site a lot this week. So what I like about Carnegie Mellon is they have a list of vendors, right? That are, they have 218 vendors that they're keeping track of, which, depending on if, you've got Apple, so Apple says, we're not aware of vendor information. So they tend to respond to vulnerabilities. Some of them do, some of them don't. And it's just interesting to see which ones have and which ones do not. So like Affero, I don't know who Affero is necessarily, but they have mentioned they're immune to certain types of these vulnerabilities. Or the Bluetooth SIG has mentioned, key negotiation in the past, August 9th, 2019. BlackBerry, what's BlackBerry? No. Anyway, I know what BlackBerry. But so yeah, I mean, you get this from Carnegie Mellon. They keep track of people noting or replying or responding in press to say, hey, we're not vulnerable to this, or we don't. So I like kb.cert.org. It's so far been a better site for me than NVD or one of the other ones. So, especially since they are known to keep track of roughly 200 or so different vendors like Palo Alto and Pulse Secure and QLogic and Red Hat and Roku and Samsung, Smoothwall. So it's pretty awesome. Oh, and SourceFire, which is now Cisco, I believe. So yeah. But anywho, MSEC, have you, if you're still watching, have you had a chance to test out any of the Bluff stuff with your? I'm assuming you have a blue Flipper Zero. So, let's see, what else do we have? Oh, get my water bottle here. Yeah, the only exposure I've had with Flipper Zero is a bunch of people watching my car's charge port open, which doesn't give me a warm fuzzy about what the tool is for. Tools using tools, I guess, is that case, right? Even at InfoSec Campout, I had my car parked down by where the main area where everybody was hanging out. I was across, well, for those of you who went to InfoSec Campout, I was talking to my friend Ted, and I saw somebody walking around my car, and I was like, yeah, he's got a Flipper Zero. And so I, watched him from afar. I had my phone app on, and, I hit the alarm. Maybe I be, I can play too, right? So I am. It was fun to, activate the alarm with the person sitting there thinking they did that themselves. So they moved away real quick, though. So it was nice. It was nice. Oh, look. Okay, so not bad news, not good news, but it's news. Kali Linux came out with a new version, which is nice. 2023.4 released as of December 5th. New tools, Kali for Raspberry Pi 5. Ooh, how slow is that? Good Lord. OffSec, previously Offensive Security, released, yes, latest. So new additions, they have a Taxi client implementation called Cabby, Taxi 2 client, okay. Next generation version of Enum for Linux. Oh man, I used the hell out of that. Trying my, during the OffSec, trying for my OSCP back in the day, I used Enum for Linux, out the ass. So interesting. Definitely helps you enumerate Windows and Samba in shares in your environment. Yeah. EXIF looter, geolocation info on image URLs and directories. Okay. Hate mail. An email OSINT and password breach hunting tool. All right. Havoc is a post-exploit, malleable post-exploit CNC framework. Okay. Open Taxi is what is okay. I figured at some point we would know what Taxi is, but let's go look and see what Taxi is. Trusted automated exchange of intelligence information. Oh, okay. So it's a RESTful API and a set of requirements for clients and servers, 2 primary sources support, collection is an interface to a logical repo of CTI objects. Okay, so it's for collecting threat intelligence information. Okay, all right, very cool. I know we've talked about something like this in the past, but yeah, I wasn't sure. So Oasis. Another classic payload is spawning a bunch of Wi-Fi hotspots, each with lines from "Never Gonna Give You Up." Yes, I've seen something like that. I also saw like an older joke where CCIE was, basically doing the Star Wars crawl in like router rip or something like that, where you'd send those messages across the network, and it was long ago, and you could see the bits there. Or they did it in ASCII, I think, art, and you'd collect that across the wire, and you could see that happening. So they've got some new tools, cool tools here. Inside, Pass Detective scans shell command history to detect mistakenly written passwords, API keys. Interesting. So it'll check your bash history for APIs, passwords. So if you have a command and it's like, okay, you can add the username and password, like a curl command. If you're curling something and you need an API key, you can check your bash history on the machine that you're on for API keys. Port spoof, wow. Okay, so if you're trying to create like a honeypot or something, port spoof might be something you'd want to use. Opens all 65,000 ports and emulates services. So maybe you want to create some kind of, or maybe not so much a honeypot, but you want to be able to open up and respond to somebody sends you a command. You send something to a command. The server sends something back to you on a certain port. You can open that port and kind of emulate what that system is doing. Lightweight HTTP file upload service, Raven. Okay, Recon Spider. It's a lot of cool stuff. I stopped using Kali a long time ago when I gave up trying to be a pen tester, but it was super unstable for me, even when they did the LTS versions or the rolling updates, because every time I logged in, it was 3 terabytes of updates, it seemed like. So they do a really good job of making sure the updates are good, but it always ended up I'd have to rebuild my Kali Linux instance. I'm sure they've gotten better, I hope. So they have a dedicated Hyper-V version, support for Vagrant, latest GNOME. See, the GNOME thing always got me. I never liked GNOME. I still don't, even when I'm using Ubuntu, so I always run XFCE or something like that. A new dedicated image for Raspberries if you have a Raspberry, and it's on Azure Marketplace. So if you're doing cloud-based testing, you have a new version there available. So yeah, good stuff. I'm not vamping or anything. I just there's so few good news articles out there. So I guess, even something talking about updates is not bad news. It's kind of good news. Seems to me that they add these things, I don't know if because they're open source or because, they need those tools for testing. Your OSCP stuff is based on using Kali Linux. So, maybe some of the curriculum that you're going to be learning when you do your OSCP uses those tools or has the ability to use those tools. I know enum for Linux, I use the fuck out of that. So, enumeration, being able to do those things is always helpful to have. So, all right, let's see. Pegasus spyware trial. Okay, implicating former president of Mexico. Okay. Well, everyone hates Pegasus, but they can't argue about the effectiveness of it. So it's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. So the next couple of weeks we'll probably see a bunch of predictions. What do we expect to see in 2023? Microsoft let Windows 10 home users buy extended security updates. Wow, buy it. Oh, how magnanimous of them. Microsoft says Windows 10 customers will be able to pay for 3 extra years of security updates through the ESU program. Oh, very nice. After Windows 10 reaches end of support in 2025, so we've got another 2 years. So, The funny thing, yeah, it's like, yeah, MSEC, you're correct. It's very generous of them. I'm wondering how much cheaper it is to move your, Windows box to Windows 11. I think, I think the problem is there's a lot of boxes out there that won't support Windows 11 because they don't have the proper TPM chips. Just like the box that I had for streaming before I bought this box. I tried putting Windows 11 on it, and then I ended up with like Hyper-V errors that came up. That the only thing I could trace was that I was running Windows 11 on a box that wasn't supposed to run Windows 11. And so once I put it back to Windows 10, all those blue screens of death and green screens of death went away. So, you know, the trade-off is I could spend money for another 3 years of Windows 10 updates. But would it be cheaper to buy a used Surface or something like that that would run Windows 11 on it? I'm dreading the move to 11. It's basically a downgrade. MSEC, you're making a comment that I'm going to have to ask you. What is it that you don't like about Windows 11? Because I run Windows 11. I like Windows 11. I don't have any skin. I actually liked Windows 8. With the Metro desktop. I know, I was probably the only one. It just works for me. This Windows 11 Home, my computer, with the graphics card in it, is a bit sus because the Cyber Power PC, when the graphics card tends to come on or heats up, I've been told it flexes in the motherboard and causes a disconnection of the display. But so far, I've not had a blue screen of death or anything on this machine, and I use it daily. I use DaVinci Resolve on it. I use OBS. I'm streaming on it on a regular basis. I'm making content. I've got syncing. I've got a ton of shit running on it. Not a fan of the UI changes, bloatware, more telemetry. Telemetry, yeah, I understand. I mean, that was a thing starting with Windows 8. Yeah, the telemetry doesn't bother me so much. I mean, I turn it off, but it is what it is. The bloatware, let me go see I have Windows 11 Home, which the thing that got me on that was there's no RDP. So if you use Windows 11 Home, there's no RDP, which affects me about this much times. Which I think at the time I was needing the RDP, I needed to get some files off of the computer, but I've installed SyncThing and I got that. The other thing is no BitLocker, which again, somebody breaks into my house and grabs my entire mid-tower ATX board and makes off with it. Oh well, that's just what happens. So my Surface 8 and my Lenovo have BitLocker on them. I don't see any performance issues, but it's one of those things. How much does it cost? How much does the Windows, do they have pricing here? Let's see. Because my question is, if it's expensive, what's the difference between going and buying a new computer or spending another 3 years on it? If you really hate Windows 11 to the point where you need an LTSC version. Yeah. Windows 11 was a free update for me on my Surface as well. So when I went from my Surface 8, which I bought used, I went from 10 to 11, no issues. I actually run a beta insider preview on that. So let me see, what do they got here? Windows 7. So there's still a good number of people running around on Windows 7 still, which I don't believe is receiving updates unless they have an LTSC version as well. XP. Wait, is that it? No, wait. Windows X. People. Okay, so let me maximize this because I got old ass eyes. So I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so 8, XP, and 10 all have the same numbers. I'm guessing XP is down here close to the 0%. Windows 10 is up here at the top. Okay, so yeah, 68.2. Windows 7 has a non-zero amount of market share. It's slowly barking towards zero here. And Windows 8 is a non-zero. It's getting there. Oh wow, it actually increased here in November. I don't get that, but Yeah, people who don't want to upgrade or don't have an eligible device can subscribe to the ESU program. Yeah, I mean, at some point, it's like you're going to spend $300 for Windows 10 updates, or you won't. Um, or you could go and buy a used Surface or something like that. So yeah, they have yet to share pricing details. What they're probably trying to figure out how to make that price point such as it is. So interesting. So. And of course, there's a lot of companies out there like, yeah, we don't want to go to 11. They wouldn't be surprised if they extend it. Yeah, I mean, it really depends on, if Windows 10 starts sliding down. I do believe you can make some changes now in Windows 11 to move the UI over. A lot of people are not a fan of the Mac OS middle bar kind of thing. So, see, that's why I was like, oh, Windows 11 is now in the middle. They're just trying to emulate OS X. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's not awful, I guess. I've turned the Copilot off. I haven't found a reason for it yet. Maybe it's because I don't have it on and I don't know what it does for me. Could be that too. But yeah, interesting. Oh, right. Sorry. I need to copy, and I'll put that link in here. Doink. There we go. I have to take off about 4:15 because we're going to go have dinner. So I've got another 20-ish minutes. Win 12. Yeah, the way Microsoft said, they were not going to continue with version numbers. It was just going to continue being almost like a rolling update like Kali Linux does, where it's, Windows, 2023.5 or something like that. I guess they put that all out the window. I mean, I don't understand why they don't have Windows 2024, and it's like, you'll update to Windows 2025 or something like that. So maybe they thought that was too much of a change and would scare users. What happened to Windows 12 through 2022 or whatever. So several phishing attacks. We talked about the CISA stuff on Sunday with Miss Berlin, Mr. Betcher. You can go listen to some of that back there. They did that with server version. Yeah, I mean, why not? I guess maybe that would confuse people if you have Windows Professional 2023 versus Windows Server 2023 or 2019, I think is 2022, I think is the last version of Windows Server. 2022. So yeah. Maybe that would confuse people, so that's why they continue with the singular digits. Yeah. Anyway, so we talked about the CISA stuff on Sunday with Miss Berlin, Mr. Betcher. If anybody has an opinion, and just let me see, CISA stop. Oh, buck stops, I think is what they. Listen. Yeah, stop passing the buck on cybersecurity. And there's a PDF that they have. So they keep talking about these things, and here's the link to it. You don't have to sign up for anything or share your email or what have you. The PDF of it's right there. They say that patching all the things doesn't work, and I would argue that for the most part, yes. The vulnerabilities that we have are not impactful enough, or my problem is they say to achieve this, every designer must begin creating products that are secure by default or secure by design. It's nice to say, but it's a heavy lift for a lot of organizations, and it's not their fault necessarily. Products trump security every time. When you go to ship a product, hey Beta Wolf, hey, they mean well, and their thought is not, what is somebody going to do with my beautiful, happy, fancy device or product or service or what have you. They're very curious, just like our hacker folks. They're not. I would imagine they're not willfully, ignorant about these things. They just don't live in the same mindset a lot of hackers do. And, so secure by default, secure by design. People have suggested shifting left, which I hate that term because that means that security has to do the shifting of the left, when in fact, maybe developers need to make some room at those tables to say, okay, these are our stakeholders. Our stakeholders are our customers, our management. Oh yeah, and let's have security join in. I would argue that maybe we're not the best people to work with regards to things like product security. Some people get it, some people don't, and I would say the relationship at many companies with developing teams is that they're Wile E. Coyote and we're a brick wall, and we've talked at length about guardrails and things like that. There's enough blame to go around for folks. It's like, yeah, we want to be secure, we want to do these things, but as we've seen, like with the latest bluffs, Bluetooth issue, what worked in 2014 when the landscape was different doesn't work in 2023. So even stuff that was secure by design in 2023, we may give ourselves another couple years, but the attack surfaces change, features get added, features get deleted, controls get added, controls get deleted, legislation happens which causes things to be added, which would then open up new threats. It's ever changing, and being secure by default or by design sounds nice, but it's not secure by design. It's almost secure. There's got to be a better word for it, right? It's secure by, secure as you go along, right? Where you would have to keep, as the train goes down the track, you've got a rough track, right? So things fall off the train, including things that might, initially have been great to secure the system. So either, if it's a device, it's size, weight, and power that you have to worry about. Adding security defeats size, weight, and power. And I would almost say cost is the fourth leg of that. Size, weight, and power. So you've got, security in there. Security causes performance issues. Security causes your chipset to be different, so you maybe don't have as cheap a chipset as you want. And it's how you deliver that news, whether it be the Department of No, which is what a lot of people believe security still is, or we are not equipped to speak to the business need of the devices or services. And sometimes that's just the hiring issues or fault of the hiring. It's not all, bad. It's just, when bad things happen, we then have to go back, and we try not to do the I told you so, but it's very hard not to do so when you might have suggested doing something with a developer to, protect against X, like cross-site scripting or CSRF, or, some kind of hard-coded credential is in your F5. And so, it's hard to say, well, I told you so, or hard not to say I told you so, but, there is a smug satisfaction in being proven right when you were, told, it's the schadenfreude, right? But you have failed as a security person for not getting that across to make them aware and knowledgeable and wanting to make those changes. So the developers are guilty of, not seeing that picture, or seeing that, in the short term, we're going to ship this thing, but in the long term, the maintenance, care, and feeding is going to be monstrous. And when it's Friday afternoon and a new vulnerability has come out, and you want to go to Bora Bora, and you're a developer and you're sitting there waiting to fix an issue that came up because of something that was added 2 years ago by somebody who no longer works with the company. These are the things that we don't think about. We don't think about the long term. We just want to get that thing launched, and then we deal with the maintenance thereof. So I see it from the technology provider's perspective, and MSec, Beta Wolf. I don't know if I've turned y'all off on this conversation, but I would love some insight. One of our 4 viewers, if you're also listening and you disagree with me, please, I'd love to have a chat discussion with you or a debate. I've been in a lot of different industries, and I'm learning things from our people every day. But how different would the world be if Cisco or F5 or Blue Coat or Fortinet or Juniper or Citrix, or what if they didn't have the ability to expose their web admin UIs to the internet? How much different would that be? I haven't done any kind of real research on this, but my how many pre-auth RCE vulnerabilities for Cisco have there been in the last 2023? Pre-auth Cisco vulnerabilities 2023. I don't know of a good way of figuring these out, but I know it's non-zero, right? Here we go. Let's see. Well, here's one. I guess we could go to NVD. NVD. Here we go. Hey, we're hacking live. How are you doing? What you got there? All right, got a tiger. All right, very nice, very nice. Vulnerabilities. They used to keep track of Cisco vulnerabilities. Glad you could join us there. We hacking live. Let me see. Cisco vulnerabilities. Here we go. 2023. Close. So, we've got a non-zero amount of these. And of course they have a nuclear symbol for public exploit exists. But here's a vulnerability in the web UI, vulnerability in the web-based management interface, vulnerability in the remote access VPN feature, vulnerability in the packet processing, vulnerability in the geolocation. Let's see. Here's another one, a vulnerability in the web-based interface of IP phones. The reason these aren't high vulnerabilities. Where's the 10s at? Shit. Where's the okay? Thinks I'm fine since your OSINT talk with your buddy. I've been coming here a lot. Mr. Gray? CVSS scores. Here we go. Yeah. See, according to this is what. Let me see what we got. See if we can shrink down some of these. Here's XXM. Yeah. God damn it! Come on. I don't need a big. Okay. 2023. Overflows, memory corruption, SQL injection, XSS, file inclusions. So we've had, 54 XSS vulnerabilities in 2023 for Cisco. CVSS report, here we go. Yeah, so we've had 27 of 9 or greater for Cisco in 2023. Remote access VPN feature, brute force, unauthenticated remote attacker, brute force attack. Oh, ChatGPT and OSINT. Okay, all right, very cool. It's just, how many of these vulnerabilities would not exist? Now, I guess that's the wrong answer. So, having the ability to own up a pre-auth, hey, Digital Warhead, what's up? Glad you could join me today. Thank you so much for your subscription. I don't know why the notification looks janky like that. That's unfortunate. Well, that's not very nice. I don't know why I did that. Overlays, here we go. Notifications. unlink. There we go. Yeah, thank you so much, Digital Warhead. Is it No, it's not Wednesday. Tomorrow is CSEC East, right? Tomorrow is CSEC East? I think so. And yeah, thank you for 21 months of subscription. Appreciate that. Would they be level 10 if they were not exposed to the internets, right? It's just, see SD-WAN management, unauthenticated remote attacker, read permissions to. The reason these are high is because a lot of times these are exposed to the internet. And it's just like how much time would be saved by these organizations by not having the ability to expose these to the internet. I mean, it's still fine to have this exposed internally. It may not be a 10 or 9 plus, what have you. It just feels like Cisco should maybe take control of their kit and say, as a customer, you're not going to be able to do this anymore. And, I think we talked about that a little bit. Thank you, Beta Wolf. Appreciate you. Oh, man. Hold on. Let me grab that. I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, is it the hype boss thing? Yeah, maybe. I don't know why I turned off. Yeah, thanks, Beta Wolf. Appreciate that. Yeah, it looks like we defeated one of the bosses, the hype boss there. So, yeah, thanks for the gifted subs, and yeah, thank you so much. But yeah, so I think there's going to come a turning point. Maybe Cisco's security people, maybe their developers. I'm sure their PR and marketing people and their sales people are fighting. It might be fighting internally. Maybe they're not fighting at all. Maybe these salespeople are like, yeah, we can't sell a device to people because they don't want it and not have that ability to do things. Oh, Black Lodge Research. Okay, yeah, Black Lodge. Go hang out at Black Lodge with the CSEC East folks if you live in the Seattle area in Redmond. It's just off of 65th, I think, and the 202. So, yeah, you can go check that out. Good times. But yeah, so at some point, it's going to be more advantageous for Cisco to say, we're going to control your narrative. We're going to control your configuration. We're going to take away the ability for you to expose things to the internet. Unless it's VPN is still a bad thing, but, they still have vulnerabilities in their VPN service. But, reducing the number of things that can expose to the internet, your attack surface. Because not only does a Cisco vulnerability affect Cisco poorly, it affects any other company that uses Cisco kit. And it's I'm ranting on this. This is ranty clause again. I'm going all ranty clause. But it's like the vulnerability affects the vendor. It affects the companies that use the vendor. The vendor is going to get ugly mail from company A, company B, company 1000. Hey, why are these insecure? There's going to be some companies that may be like, hey, we don't like the fact that your stuff is that insecure. And then Cisco's going to come back with, well, you made it that way, right? You have the ability to secure your shit. You just choose not to. And I'm sure there's use cases like, well, our MSSP needs the ability to access this remotely. There's other ways of doing it. You can mix your kit. You don't have to have a Cisco VPN and a Cisco, router or whatever exposed to the internet. You may have to mix and match your stack so that, the same Cisco vulnerability doesn't affect VPN and, this and your other Cisco thing and your other Cisco thing. It might make sense to mix and match your VPN and your routers, or your phones and your routers and your switches and those things. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but yeah, I don't want to say ranty clause is original. I'm sure somebody's already thought of that. It feels like McDouglas may have said something like that on Twitter. I don't want to say that's an original thing. I can't imagine that I've had an original thought in my head for years. So, but yeah, that makes my butt pucker right there. With the public exploit exists and it's being exploited. That's painful and rough. But The problem is if Cisco doesn't, or Cisco's, or the Fortinets, or the Blue Coats, or the F5s, or these companies that have these crushingly bad bugs on the reg, like every so often, they're going to get legislated. CISA is already asking this and making their case for this, right? They're going to get a coalition of the willing, being a bunch of clueless Congress people, to mandate these fixes or secure by design. And they're either going to have to shell out a lot of money to buy off Congress people to make sure that this legislation gets watered down, or they're gonna end up having to get audited, or it's going to be a PCI kind of thing where it's like, hey, are you doing secure by design, secure by default, that kind of thing. So yeah, so I've got about 5 minutes left here. Digital, you want to say anything? It's been a minute since you've been on. Anything you want to talk about? I mean, we got about 5 minutes here, so I want to be on Friday, but I have a feeling we've got a thing in the afternoon, and I really want to figure out this Rust thing. I don't want to say I'm getting bored with the Rust OS thing, but the way he writes his tutorials, I'm not a fan of that. I would love to find. I'm not saying there's a book out there that I could use for that, but I'm searching for ideas for the stream. So if you want to do something, if it isn't even security related, you want to just talk about careers, or if you just want to we want to do some stuff that is not security related, I'm all in on that, by the way. So try Hack Me Chris. Oh, do they have an advent calendar for Christmas? Yeah. Okay. So can I go back and start with day one, or am I, if I don't do it every day, that I'm shit out of luck? How does that work? Insider, PhD, infosec, pet. Look at those prizes. I don't give a shit about prizes. See all the prizes. Okay, so we have a Stream Deck. Okay, yeah, great. I don't need a mouse. I don't need AirPods. I don't need a chair. I have a standing desk. I just upgraded my computer. I don't need CompTIA vouchers. I pay for my THM. Let me see what else. AWS training. Okay. MetaQuest. Okay. Don't need those. I have Quiet Comforts, and I don't need a big ass monitor. Damn. So of those prizes, the MetaQuest 3 might be the only thing that might be useful. It's the only thing I don't have that is like, okay, if it's on sale, I could get one. Oh, wallpapers. Oh, get some wallpapers. I wonder if I can use these on my stream. Let me go ahead and download those just for shits and giggles. I guess that's free advertising for them if they, if I added those on there. So, despite the prizes, the challenges are fun. New topics every day. Yeah, I started out doing Try Hack Me and Hack the Box and those things, but when you get stuck and then there's -1 people's on your stream help to be able to talk through or help out with these things, it starts making you not want to do these, because it's like you feel like you're dead air or what have you. So yeah, plus if you join the room and you're hanging out with other people, maybe they don't want to be on the stream like that. So it's fun watching the suffering, though. Thank you, Beta Wolf. I'll keep that in mind. Each challenge has a walkthrough video attached, so you won't get stuck. Oh, good. So if I want to cheat, I can do that. That's cool. Well, not cheat, but if I get stuck, then I can go and look online for that. So, all right. Well, gentlemen, and Lady P couldn't make it today, so Lady P had to go into the office. I need to go because I have to drive. I got my car back, by the way, which is great. It's all functional again. My Baphomet is running and running well. So maybe I'll do Thursday. Maybe I'll do a Thursday stream, because I think Friday we actually have to go out and do something Christmassy. Like we're getting involved in the local Los Angeles Chargers fan club, which has been around since 2014, I think. So we do things with them. Their sport team, Hand Egg, American Hand Egg. Today's challenge was MS-DOS. Wow. Okay. But anyway, wanna go and find out who's online here. Unless somebody has somebody they want to suggest. let's see. Oh, oh. So apparently they've got Twic.tv. So Sid Heresy, we have MakerDeck, Leak Beats, Freedom DAO. Freedom DAO's on building some GPT audio visual toolkits. Okay, let's go raid Freedom DAO. Go learn your Chat GPT stuff. There you go. And he's been on our stream several times. So, share the love with Freedom DAO. So I'll be back on, I think I'm going to shoot for Thursday because my audio has been fixed and I'm feeling less shitty about it. So hope you all have a good day, and go to CSEC East if you're in Seattle. But yeah, go hang out and have a good day. Good night, y'all.